Hey everyone. Today we're going to talk about flow buttons, otherwise known as open screen flows in Lightning experience with a URL. This was part of the Spring 26 release. So, what is our agenda? We're going to say why flow buttons, right? Why am I so excited about being able to launch a flow from a URL? We'll talk about that. We're going to go into the history, classic versus lightning flows, and why that matters with navigation and redirection. Then we're going to look at the Spring 26 release, what it includes, how to send variables to the flow in the URL, and then we're going to go ahead and build the flow. So first off, why flow buttons? Well, as we can see right here, you have kind of two options for flow buttons as an action, right? So like right now you can create a flow and you can create an action. And that one would be kind of like on the right-hand side. We have this new contact flow button. We're just going to keep it pretty simplistic for now. But as you can see, there's a lot of other buttons in the top right. Um, Granted, we might clean this up. We might not necessarily need all of them, but there's a lot of buttons up there. If you're trying to, control when it can run and different things, perhaps that is very helpful. However, if I go to my contact related list and I'm looking for a contact and I want to create a new contact right from there, I can't. I have to go up to that section. So, not very awesome for an end user. Additionally, we could use something like run flow button from flow components and put it inside the page. Maybe better, maybe not. Maybe you could create a different tab for contacts and a new contact at the top. It works, but again, not ideal. Right there in that list view is really helpful. So we're going to take a look at why that is that way. So with the history of Classic versus Lightning and the URL with Flow, Classic flows only worked through a URL button, right? So this is kind of how it worked. You'd have your flow name, then the ID, which would be account ID and return URL. You'd send this into the flow, and that's how you would launch your flow back in the day. And so, from that perspective, though, you couldn't redirect the flow to a newly created record inside that flow without code. So if I created a contact and I wanted to redirect it to a contact, I couldn't just do that with the flow. I had to use what's called a ret URL, a return URL. But that means I had to know the ID of that from the very beginning. So from that perspective, if I'm on my account, I could put in my return URL as my account ID, and that would work, but it returned me to the account, not the contact that I just created. So from that perspective, Lightning flows allow for navigation. So I have an app on the App Exchange. It's completely free called Flow Components, and there's a redirect flow in it that allows you to redirect using Lightning navigation. This works great. So I can redirect to a contact that was created in the flow without having to write any code. Technically, I wrote the code in the component, but it's a really easy component you can just drag and drop into your flow. Um, and you kind of have this reusable component that you can use in any flow. You can redirect to an ID or a URL. Versus in Classic, it was custom built for each flow. The only problem is Lightning navigation doesn't work when you launch it via a button, right? So if I were to put um, my flow name here and launch this from a button, it wouldn't run in Lightning. And so again, it might look like Lightning when it runs, but it's actually running in a classic type of flow environment, which means my navigation that redirected me to the new record wouldn't work because that only works in Lightning navigation, which the classic one obviously wasn't part of. So Spring 26 release, we have flow buttons in Lightning. So now you can launch the flow with a button using Lightning before flow. So as we see here, /lightning/flow/ whatever your flow name is. So why is this good? Well, I can now add it as a button, and buttons go in related lists. Buttons go in list views. You can also select multiple records in a list view or a related list. So this opens up more possibilities. But it also includes Lightning navigation because it's flow buttons in Lightning. So that means your redirect works, which usually is a big request. So how do we send variables to this flow, right? We're going to use flow underscore underscore variable name. So in this case, lightning slash flow slash my flow name question mark. That means to the URL, hey, I'm going to start adding variables. And then flow underscore underscore variable one, var one equals value one. And then for var two, I have value two. So the additional part is you can actually create a text variable inside of your flow called IDs, and you can set it as an input. And that allows multiple values to be sent into it. So for instance, if you're launching it from a multi-select button, like a related list or a list view, the items you select will be sent into the flow. So this is pretty cool. We'll take a look at that as well. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to build our flow. And first is we're going to convert our existing flow action to a flow button. And there's two ways you could do this. Um, we're going to look at it from a subflow process because we already have this screen flow. It's working. Don't necessarily want to touch it, but I want to be able to direct into it. So we're going to look at it from a screen flow. And the other benefit of that is, let's say you have a junction object and you want to be able to launch it from, either of the top objects. You could do that if you kind of go through this methodology. So we're going to go through that methodology, teach you reusability within Flow. And then we have list view flow to deactivate contacts. So selecting multiple contacts on an account and being able to deactivate them all in one go. So let's jump into it. First thing here we have is our account, Engelhard Consulting. We have our new contact button, right? When I click on it, in this case, it's just going to open up that new contact. And if we go here and just create a test contact, just for a quick test, we're going to see here, we require lead source, and we're going to skip the rest just to show it redirects, right? This is the really cool thing that a lot of companies like. So, however, again, I really wish it was here. So we're going to take a look at our screen flow, what it does. Our screen flow does have an input of record ID. Now, it is a single variable. So if you're familiar with launching a flow from from an action, right? You can set record ID, but you can set it as the variable. So in this case, it's a record and its account. It's going to send all that data in. I don't have to go do a get. Pretty nice. But you can also make this a text variable and send it in via input, and that works as well. So from that perspective, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a new flow. So what we're going to think about with this flow is we're going to send in a ID. And so if we go to our screen flow, we're going to send in an ID. So the first thing we need is an ID. I'm going to just use record ID because it's such a common way to say it. So I'm just going to say it's going to be text and it's available for input. So I'm going to be sending in my account ID into my resource. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click get and I'm going to say get account. And I'm going to put my object as account. And I will put that the ID is our ID field. Perfect. I'm only going to get the first record, and now I'm going to redirect to my screen flow, right? So I have my screen flow, a new contact, and I'm going to say create contact, and I'm going to set record ID as my account from get account. I'm just going to delete the dot after that because I'm sending in that whole account. So first I'm going to click save, call this screen flow, and I'm going to say new contact from account. So notice how my other screen flow was screen flow new contact. This one's from account, and this will take in the account ID and send the account, as it, to the new contact flow. And actually, I do have it called screen flow, so I will say screen flow, new contact. That a little bit better. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and we're going to save that. Then we're going to activate that. So now that that has been activated, we're actually going to go to our account. Sorry, we're going to go to our contact first. And on the contact, we're going to, going to the account first. on our, no, we're going to the contact first. I keep going back and forth. Sorry about that. We're going to go to our button. We're going to create a new button on the contact record, and you're going to call it from the account. And so that's important to note when we're creating this. Now I'm going to call this new contact, and I'm going to say it's a list button. In this case, I'm not selecting multiple checkboxes. So this one is not a checkbox one, but this is where it matters. So as I was saying, we need to send in the account ID. So we're going to change our field type to account, and we're going to select account ID, and then we're going to just go ahead and follow our procedure. So from that perspective, if we go backwards and we go to our lightning flow, right? We're going to go ahead and we're going to say lightning flow, our flow name. So quick way to get your flow name after you save it, just go and grab it. All right. And I should have put it before the account ID. And then we're going to put question mark flow underscore underscore record ID is equal to our account ID. So from there, this is all we need from our button. We're going to go ahead and click save. And so now that we've done that, now we go to the account, we go to our account page. And on the account page, we scroll to contacts and we see our new contact button. I also have deactivate contacts, so I'm going to add that in for now. So that way we don't have to go back and forth. And when I go back to my account page, if I were to refresh my page, we will see I have a new contact. So now from this perspective, it's going to take me to this new page, Rich Engelhard, and we will say Rich at lead sources web, CEO of the company, and we'll just leave phone blank. And as you can see, it redirected me right to the new contact, Rich Engelhard, all from this list view. Incredible. Absolutely love this. Well, now that we've looked at this, we also noticed that we have a few contacts here, Awesome Admin, Rich Engelhard, and Test Test. Well, we're going to say Test Test and Awesome Admin, they're actually deactivating. We need to deactivate them. They're no longer active contacts. So I'm just going to click deactivate contacts. And as you can see, it's going to run my flow. And you saw a little thing that said your flow finished. And now that it's finished, it's brought me back to the account. So in this case, I wanted to go back to the account because I am deactivating contacts on the account. It should go back to the account. And as you can see here, Rich Engelhard is the only one that's there. So if we were to take a look at that really quickly, what does that look like? Well, in this case, I have a really simple screen flow. In my screen flow, I have a collection called IDs. It is a text collection, and it's available for input. And what does it do? It simply just updates contacts. So from that perspective, I'm saying get me the contact ID, give me all contacts where the contact ID is in IDs. I know it's giving me this data type of resource you entered isn't compatible, but obviously saved and activated and worked earlier. I don't know why giving me this. We'll refresh it, see if it gives me any errors. It does, but that's okay. I wonder if I were to re-add it, if it would be happier. Not happy. That's okay. It does work. It is a collection variable, and so I simply go from active true to active false here, and all I'm doing is deactivating the contacts. So pretty easy. Again, that button is on the contact. And so if I go to deactivate contacts, you can see here I created a button and all I'm doing is adding that URL. So as we talked about, I'm not actually even using the redirect to the account, which I could do. I could send in the account ID and redirect using the lightning redirect, but this is actually using the classic redirect. Now I am doing this in a lightning button, so it is okay. But technically, you could use that with Lightning navigation. You could do whatever you would like with Lightning now through this. So very, very cool. Very excited for that. Now, we've looked at converting our existing flow action to a flow button. What are those benefits? We've looked at using a list view flow to deactivate those contacts. But there's a bonus. And you can use a flow as a tab. I really think this is so cool. You have admin tasks that you might want to do that, you know, you want to be able to just click a tab and be able to start going on a flow. or flows that might not necessarily start with a record, but you want to do something like get all open ops in the past and update the date. So I do have a bonus here as well. We're going to look at tables and flow. It doesn't work for date though. So instead, we're actually going to use the next step, and we're actually going to show you how to be able to do this with the next step. So a lot of times, reps might want an easy way to remember to update next steps. I have it as a tab. I click update next steps. What does it do? It actually runs a flow. As you can see here, I have update next steps as a flow. It's in Lightning. It's pretty cool. And so I've already updated one previously, but what I can do is I can say that, hey, we're doing this on the demo for YouTube. All right. And I'm going to also update this one and say, close it. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to confirm these, click next. And in this case, it's just redirecting me back here. I can use this unlimited times. I don't have a redirect on this. I just wanted to call it through a tab. I think it's really cool. When I go to my opportunities, now I can click into my Edge emergency generator, go to details, and you can see here our next step is demo for YouTube. And if we go to United Oil Refinery generators and go to details, you can see let's close it. So again, pretty cool. You can quickly and easily be able to launch a flow from just clicking on a tab in Lightning. Again, could be great admin tasks that you want. Maybe there's something that you need to do occasionally. Maybe you put that in the utility bar in the past, but then you had to, add some logic into who could see the utility bar. And now with the tabs, again, they're done by profiles or permission sets to be able to make those tabs visible. So very cool. Really like this update as well. So thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and looking forward for hearing a little bit more about how you're using the ability to use flow buttons. Thanks.